She had her son arrested. She brought him to the room where she had given birth to him. And what happened next was so brutal that Byzantine historians would remember it for centuries. She then signed her name on imperial documents across the Roman Empire, not as Empress, but as Emperor. What she did next accidentally created the Holy Roman Empire and split the Christian world in two, a division that still exists today. Her name was Irene, and history remembered her as a monster for doing what emperors had done for centuries. Around 750 AD in Athens, a fading provincial town of crumbling temples and half-forgotten glory, a girl was born. No royal blood, no famous dynasty, nothing that should have connected her to the throne in Constantinople. Yet, as a teenager, she was selected to marry the future emperor Leo IV. As far as historians can tell, the deciding factor may simply have been her appearance. She arrived in Constantinople as a royal bride. Nobody expected her to become one of the most consequential rulers in medieval history. Leo IV died in 780 AD. Their son, Constantine VI, was only 9 years old. Power passed to Irene as regent. The expectation was simple. She would rule temporarily until her son came of age. That was the plan. It assumed she was willing to give power back. The empire was divided by iconoclasm, the policy of destroying religious images. It had fractured Byzantine society and damaged relations with Rome. Irene reversed it. She restored the veneration of icons and positioned herself as the defender of orthodoxy. She was not merely governing. She was building a power base. When Constantine VI came of age and tried to take real power, she had him exiled. When he came back, she allied with his enemies, isolated him from his generals, and systematically dismantled his support. When he moved against her directly, she had him arrested and brought to the palace of Porphyra, the imperial birthing chamber, the room where she had delivered him into the world. And there, she ordered him blinded. Blinding was the standard Byzantine method of removing a rival without formal execution. Emperors had used it for generations. She used it on her own son. The injuries were catastrophic. Constantine died from his injuries days later. Irene now ruled alone. She did not call herself Empress. She signed her name, Irene Basileus. Irene, Emperor. The male form of the title. She minted coins with her image on both sides. No co-ruler, no heir, no symbol of succession. Only her. For 5 years, she governed the empire alone. She reduced taxes, funded churches and hospitals, and cultivated support among the population. Generals and officials often disliked her authority, but they accepted it. Because after 2 decades of political maneuvering, she had made herself extraordinarily difficult to remove. She understood something fundamental. The throne was not supposed to look like her. On Christmas Day, 800 AD, in St. Peter's Basilica, Pope Leo III crowned a Frankish king named Charlemagne. He proclaimed him Emperor of the Romans. His justification was simple. A woman held it, and a woman, in the Pope's logic, could not be a legitimate Roman emperor. Irene's reign, her 5 years of sole rule, did not count. So he created a new emperor in the West under his authority. To the Pope, Irene's reign was a problem. To Charlemagne, it was an opportunity. To Constantinople, it was an insult. The Byzantine court considered Charlemagne's coronation a usurpation of the Roman title, but the precedent had been established. The event helped lay the foundations of what became the Holy Roman Empire. It also deepened the growing divide between the Roman Church in the West and the Orthodox Church in the East. 2 centuries later, that division became the Great Schism, the formal split between Catholic and Orthodox Christianity that has never been healed. Irene did not create these developments alone, but her unprecedented rule provided the opening. A woman sat on the Roman throne. So another throne was created. In 802 AD, court officials overthrew Irene. She was exiled to Lesbos and died the following year. Byzantine historians often described her as a murderer, a usurper, and a woman who had gone too far. She blinded her son. Other emperors had blinded brothers, nephews, and rivals. She used religion as a political tool. So had many rulers before her. The difference was that her face was on the coin. The throne was never supposed to have her face on both sides. The rulers who followed Irene needed her to be a warning, not a precedent. For 5 years, her face appeared on both sides of a Roman coin. Today, she barely appears in history at all.